Hello and welcome to Goa 365's Story Behind the Story. Now we have been doing a series of episodes on inclusiveness, and today is something that would almost cross the boundaries for most people, but it is something that is normal, it happens, it's part of society. So we are going to be discussing something that most people probably would find taboo, but for it should not be. It should be normal because it's part of what we are, it's part of our society, and it basically, if you rationally think, choice is very, very individual. So the topic we are going to be discussing on is something which is known, for want of a better word, transgenders. I may not be comfortable with the word because it looks as if it is something different. Well, actually, basically, we are all human beings. So I would like to put it on that. But anyway, let the people. We have a very distinguished panel here, and let the people on the panel give their views on this general thing. Because I don't like compartmentalization. That I would like to put on record right at the beginning. So with me, I would like to start with good friend of mine and my professor so long back, Prakash Kamath, senior journalist. Prakash Bab, welcome to our show. Sudesh Gowde, assistant professor, IPHB. Sudesh Bab, welcome. Madhu Gupta from Darpan, an NGO. Madhu man, welcome to our show.
Namaste.
Francis Fernandez, co-founder of Goa Rainbow Trust. Francis, welcome to our show.
Namaste.
Prakash Bab, introduce us as usual. Introduce the panel in a little more depth and give us like what exactly all of us are doing here today.
Before going to today's topic, let me as a journalist publicly acknowledge something that you, Glenn, and your team of Goa 365 TV, I appreciate very much, because for last several episodes I have seen all kinds of marginalized communities. Diversity of our country is very important. Diverse communities, marginalized communities like disability, persons with disabilities, persons sexually exploited, commercially sexually exploited women, trafficked women, all these sections. And today we are coming to another marginalized community in the society, transgenders or LGBTQs and plus others. So these people, they don't get a voice, and I am glad that you are giving them an open platform to come and flag their issues, discuss their issues. And this is very important, because inclusion, society should accommodate them, accept them, unless that happens. But to happen that, what is important is awareness generation, and as the media's role is very crucial in this, and your TV channel 365, Goa 365 is doing it. I appreciate it. Now coming to today's my panel, we have here, I have Mr. Sudesh Gowde. He is at present assistant professor at IPHB Goa. He is a teacher there. But Sudesh has been associated with marginalized communities as assistant deputy director of social welfare for many years. He has been working there. So schemes of all senior citizens, persons with disabilities, transgenders, all he has dealt with. And I have seen him relating to these people directly. And also as a nodal election officer for Goa, he has also been accessible election officer. He has also been dealing with all these communities during election times. Now next on my left is Madhu Gupta. She is a transgender, and she represents Goa Darpan, NGO, which works for downtrodden, marginalized transgender people, common people who have issues, who have concerns, who have all kinds of problems in day-to-day life, when they find that they are not accepted. Then I have Francis Fernandez from Bori. Francis is a mechanical engineer. He also works for this community. Francis represents
Goa Rainbow Trust.
Yeah, Goa Rainbow Trust, which is also an NGO. He is a co-founder of this trust and has been for many years working for this community.
Yeah, thanks Prakash Bab. Now Sudesh Bab, what difficulties, now you were like Prakash Bab was saying to me social welfare and Ashile and the assistant
Deputy Director.
Yeah. What difficulties you find acceptability push karpak in general to the public, to your colleagues, to I don't know families and all but at least to colleagues and the general public, because it's a very social welfare means a very open department. It's a very department.
Initially, if you see, the social welfare was basically dealing with person with disabilities, senior citizens, widows, then orphan children. The transgender part, when we talk about transgender part, the Goa State AIDS Control Society basically was working for creating awareness among transgender community with regard to HIV/AIDS. I first remember the Goa State AIDS Control Society. I think that time Mr. Prakash was working in the Hindu.
Yes.
We had all organized one workshop for all transgender. That was the first initiative which I remember somewhere in 2016.
Yes.
And thereafter, as per the requirement of the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, and in order to empower, enable or to bring the transgender in the mainstream, we had a survey. Survey was done of all the transgender who are there in Goa, and the 3 NGOs, that is Darpan, Hamsat and Rishta, were interested with the survey work to ascertain what is the socio-demographic thing, what are their educations, what are the job opportunities, what is their status, what is health seeking, health facilities for transgender, social entitlement, what are the different types of abuse takes place. It may be verbal abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse. When we talk about transgender, we have a different notions as compared to the other, I will not say other as a normal, but as compared to the other human beings. People have a fear, people have a different attitude towards looking at the transgender, and actually because of that there is a Transgender Persons Protection of Rights Act 2019, which is constituted in order to protect our transgender community all over the country. That is the thing.
Actually, that is something that is the first step. I don't know, mindset change. From what I've seen, mindset change is like, when something is at rest, for it to start moving is the most effort. Anything, maybe a stone, bus, even a vehicle, even though it doesn't start, but once it starts moving, then slowly momentum is built. So in a place like India, I think the first thing which has to be done is the legal part. So then nobody can say, nah, we don't know, humko khabar na, humko malum nahi, because the act is already there, as Sudesh Bab rightly told us. So to give us a little bit of insight into what actually happens in the community, the way people react to the community, the way the acceptance of even the authorities and generally to the community, I have Madhuji who is going to, Madhuji, हमको बोलिए कैसा आप एक्सेप्टेंस कम्युनिटी में कैसा होता है, और नहीं तो अथॉरिटीज के साइड से और लोगों के साइड से जनरली कैसा होता है आपके एक्सपीरियंस में, हमको जरा बताइए।
नमस्कार, मेरा नाम है मधु गुप्ता। मैं एक ट्रांसजेंडर कम्युनिटी से बिलोंग करती हूँ और दर्पण गोवा एनजीओ से मैं जुड़ी हूँ और वहाँ की मैं लीडर हूँ, जिसके मेरे अंदर काफ़ी सारे ट्रांसजेंडर हैं जो उनकी परेशानियाँ जो कुछ भी होती है तो मैं उस परेशानियों का हल निकालती हूँ। सर, मैं बताना चाहती हूँ कि मेरे एक्सपीरियंस में बताना चाहती हूँ कि अभी तक हमारे ट्रांसजेंडर को कोई एक्सेप्ट जल्दी नहीं करता है। उनसे लोग शर्माते हैं, तो सोचते हैं कि हमारी इनके साथ रहेंगे तो हमारी बेइज्जती हो जाएगी, उनको इंसल्ट फील होता है। तो हम चाहते हैं कि ये सोसाइटी हमें एक्सेप्ट करे, क्योंकि हम भी एक इंसान हैं, उसी माँ के कोट से हमने भी जन्म लिया है, जिससे माँ के कोट से आपने जन्म लिया है। हम कोई आसमान से टपके हुए इंसान नहीं है, हमें भी भगवान ने बनाया है, आपको भी बनाया है। फर्क इतना है कि हमें ट्रांस बनाया है, आपको नॉर्मल इंसान बनाया है।
डिफिकल्टीज एवरीडे लाइक कुछ इंटरेक्शन से लोगों
जैसे
से
कि बहुत प्रॉब्लम
difficulties?
होती है, जैसे कि हमारे, आप जानते हैं सर कि हमारे ट्रांसजेंडरों को कोई काम नहीं है, कोई अभी तक सरकार ने कोई जॉब ऑफर नहीं किया है कि हम जॉब कर सकें। तो वो बैगिंग करते हैं, सेक्स वर्कर का काम भी करते हैं, काफी सारे ऐसे रेड लाइट एरिया में भी काम करते हैं, सिग्नलों पे खड़े होते हैं। तो पेट है तो काम करना ही पड़ेगा, क्योंकि उनके पास कोई जॉब नहीं है। तो पुलिस बहुत प्रॉब्लम करती है, उनको उठा के लेके जाती है, उनको टॉर्चअप करती है, पब्लिक परेशान करता है, उन्हें अपने घरों में रेंट पे रखने से मना करता है, कहता है नहीं आप ट्रांस हो, हम आपको रेंट पे घर नहीं दे सकते हैं। मेडिकल में चले जाओ, हॉस्पिटल में डॉक्टर सही से चेकअप नहीं करता है। अगर हमें एडमिट होना है तो हमें बेड नहीं मिलते, हमें नीचे लेटाते हैं वो लोग। हमें पब्लिक प्लेस पे टॉयलेट यूज़ करने के लिए हमें बहुत सारी प्रॉब्लम्स होती है कि मेल में जाए कि फीमेल में जाए। काफ़ी सारे ऐसे मुद्दाएं हैं। तो हम चाहते हैं कि सर ये हमारे लिए, सरकार के सामने ये मुद्दा रखना चाहती हूँ कि जब हम वोटिंग कर सकते हैं, जब हमें वोटिंग करने का आपने राइट्स दे दिया है, तो हमें हमारा अधिकार भी दे दो।
Thanks, Madhuji. Now, Francis, now this is something that the community faces in a general way. But tell me one thing. Okay, movement has started. People have to come out. People, yeah, what does it need? What does it need? I know, like whether it needs some pressure from the government or whether it needs mindset change in society. What, according to you, what do you feel?
So first of all, thank you so much for inviting me on this panel. With regards to the question, I think we already have the law in place. Even as you mentioned, you know, the law definitely does provide some level of protection for these marginalized communities. But apart from that, societal change is also required, and that will happen through, you know, the other systems that are in place. Educational systems, for example, like there are a lot of educational systems itself where, you know, people from the trans community especially do not get admissions in schools, which again leads to that whole, you know, vicious cycle of unemployment and begging, sex work and all of that. They are trapped within that cycle because they don't you know, get to enjoy that basic right to education. Although it has been mentioned in even the Transgender Act that, you know, educational institutions, various other you know, employers, they cannot discriminate, but no one is willing to even get those people in those organizations right now.
Applications only are not accepted.
Exactly. So and also, even if they are accepted, what are the policies in those organizations to protect the you know, people from the community within their organizations, right? You need certain policies, employment policies, right? For example, sexual harassment policies specifically for transgender individuals. So all those policies will come into the picture once you have representation from those communities. Once you have transgender people working in those spaces, they will be able to voice out what struggles they are facing directly to the management, so that, you know, those policies can then be adopted by the you know, the top management of the companies. Yeah. So again, coming back to the whole, you know, transgender individuals not getting access to education, like, I think that it is so important. Like, once we interact with other kids in our childhood, right, that is the time our brains are in that developing stage. It's the best time to, you know, kind of create that inclusive environment in the child's mind, so that the child also respects the other person, irrespective of whether it's a trans individual, whether it's a straight individual, or whether it's a boy or girl, man, woman. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, we are all human beings, and the essence of being human beings is individuality. At the end of the day, we are all different. We all come from different backgrounds, and we need to understand that being different is okay, as long as we're not harming anyone in any way. It's okay. Like, being a trans individual, we are not robbing someone, we are not sexually abusing someone, we are not murdering someone, right? As long as we're not doing any of those things, why is it wrong to live our lives as we are?
Yeah, actually, I totally agree with you, Francis. Just to interrupt, like for example, I mean, like everybody, you talk to any youth today, or you talk to any middle age, or you say, no, I want to be me. So I want to be me only for a certain section of society. Being me is okay, or for the whole society being is okay. Are you trying to say that everybody should be allowed to be me? No. Whatever
Exactly.
what are you saying? Are you
Yeah,
saying
exactly. I mean, we should all be allowed to live our own truth. Like, you know, be ourselves. Be it whether we choose our path in our careers. That is also another thing which happens. Like, you know, careers are also very gendered in a way. Like, there are certain jobs which are meant for male individuals. There are certain jobs which are meant for female. It has
That's
been all
changing now.
Yeah, it is changing, but it has all been, you know, we have been conditioned to believe those things for quite a long time, and some people still do stick to those, you know, very restrictive mindsets. So I think, like, it all starts from that childhood period. I think that is the best time to, you know, give transgender individuals, transgender kids a chance to, you know, get an education, right? A reservation system for them would be definitely apt. You know, because reservation, there are, again, it's quite a debatable topic. Some people are against, you know, reservation systems and all, but I believe that reservation is required because it helps give marginalized sections that extra push to come at that same level in order to get equal opportunities.
Fair
Equity
enough.
is very important first.
Instead of like probably, like I know people will probably, like, you know, throw stones at me, but instead of
Yes.
class-based reservations, I think you need reservations for people, marginalized people.
Exactly.
Okay, Prakash Babu,
Yeah.
what do you have to say on that?
See, as he rightly said, it is the exclusion part which excludes them. Inclusion is very important, diversity, accepting diversity of all kinds, and inclusion. Moment society doesn't do that, they feel excluded in everything. Now I will tell you how the problem starts. Problem starts like this. Here is the case of people as they grow up, they make the choice of orientation, sexual orientation, gender orientation. Society is so stereotyped, and therefore moment this happens, we can't accept it. Then we create problems.
Suresh Babu, now this is an issue. Plus also what like we were talking about reservations and all, schemes and all. Anything you can shed some
So as I
light?
rightly said,
Because at least people should know that actually this is actually there.
yeah. See, I told that in 2016 somewhere we started the survey, and based upon all those findings and all that, now if you see the act was enacted in 2019. Thereafter, there are different provisions which needs to be made for the transgender. So Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, the Department of Social Justice and Empowerment, they created a special portal for transgender, national portal for transgender persons. See, we are now lucky that Madhu and Francis coming openly forward, and they are declaring that they are transgender. But that time there was an issue, it was very difficult to identify the transgender who are residing in different part of the remote area or in Goa or India itself. Now considering all the difficulties which we have discussed now, Government of India has come up with very good schemes. First of all, that is identification and transgender certificate. They can go to the national portal for transgender persons, and if they Google it, they will find a URL for transgender registration. There is online they can apply. That is one thing. There is a scholarship schemes for the transgender, because as Francis rightly said, there are so many issues and the people are not motivated to come forward. So in order to bring them to the mainstream, there are scholarships from 9 to 10th, 11 to 12th, undergraduate and diploma level and postgraduate level. So all these are synchronized. You will find all these facilities at one platform, that is National Portal for Transgender Persons. Even there is a skill development programs which is run by Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment. Apart from that, there are welfare schemes. So, but it is there, but how many of them are availing?
Actually, that is the biggest point.
So
That is the biggest point.
that's why it is the responsibility of transgender community as well as the people like us, those who are working at a grassroots level for the society, to bring to the notice of the transgender so that once the person is educated, he can earn, he can go to job, and all the problems which Madhuji said, that is most of the transgender either begging or involved in prostitution. This because of the lack of education, because of the lack of facilities, it compels them to go in this tradition. They are not going by their willingness.
Of course, you're forced to.
So it is our duty to bring to the notice of all transgender community. At the same time, I would also like to say the provisions of the act, that many a times it is observed that transgender community is abused by in a many ways. So as per this act, whoever contravenes with the provision of the act and who abuses, there is a punishment of 6 months to 2 years imprisonment and plus fines. So people should be also made aware that they are also part and parcel of our society.
Of course.
They are equal with us. Okay, it is not their fault that they have been born as a transgender. People should be given them choice, because I know that some of the states have also given very good opportunities for the transgender for transplanting. It takes around 4 to 5 lakhs. See, first of all, we are discussing about the begging and prostitution part, and for transplanting, to make a choice whether they want to be female oriented or male oriented, transplantation takes 4 to 5 lakhs.
मधु जी आप बोलिए।
मैं उनको धन्यवाद देना चाहती हूँ, शुक्रिया बोलना चाहती हूँ इलेक्शन कमिश्नर को, कि शायद अगर ये जो काम अभी हुआ इलेक्शन कार्ड बनाना ट्रांसजेंडर को, मेरी उम्र 25 साल की हूँ मैं, लेकिन मैं फर्स्ट टाइम अपने लाइफ में एक्सपीरियंस बता रही हूँ कि मैंने फर्स्ट टाइम वोटिंग किया है। और मुझे नहीं पता था वोटिंग का महत्व क्या होता है, लेकिन जब मैं पहली बार वोटिंग करी तो मुझे मालूम पड़ा कि वोटिंग करना बहुत जरूरी है, हर एक इंसान के लिए बहुत महत्वपूर्ण होती है वोटिंग कार्ड। तो मैं अगर यही काम ना पहले ही हो गया होता, जब मैं 18 साल की थी या 20 साल की
पास तो पास हो, छोड़िए ना, अभी क्या तो
शायद हमारे ट्रांसजेंडर कुछ और आगे आते थे।
नहीं, अभी से अभी
लेकिन शुक्रिया है कि अभी से उन्होंने बनाना शुरू कर दिया।
वो नहीं बात करना चाहता हूँ, अभी है ये सब लोग, अभी अवेयरनेस भी हो गया, अभी दर्पण थ्रू मधु जी और इनकी साहित्य ये अवेयरनेस देना मांगता है ये सब, क्योंकि 300-400
हमारे रजिस्टर में 100 ट्रांसजेंडरों को रजिस्टर है, 100 हमारे रजिस्टर है, बट उनको घर की प्रॉब्लम के वजह से कि उनको रेंट पे घर नहीं मिलती है, तो फिलहाल अभी गोवा में 30 लोग रह रहे हैं। बाकी लोगों को इसलिए नहीं रह रहे गोवा में कि उनको रहने का जगह नहीं है।
नहीं, वही बोल रहा हूँ, अभी गवर्नमेंट से इतना सब स्कीम्स है, वेलफेयर है, ये है वो है, और वो रजिस्टर किया या नहीं किया, जो किसने की करना है, रजिस्टर होने है तो हो जाएगा, नहीं तो नहीं हो जाएगा, बट इनको तो थोड़ा अवेयरनेस मिला तो अच्छा हो जाएगा, राइट?
Documentation becomes a biggest issue for them.
Yeah, I know, but
by
now,
getting the scheme.
Yeah, I know, but now with this very specific advantage, I think it could be done. I know the way government
Francis
works.
could be better.
Yeah, Francis, what do you feel? Are you aware of this?
I was not aware of most of the schemes. I mean, scholarships, I have heard of them definitely.
Just heard.
No, I heard of them.
Yeah, just
also.
heard.
Yeah. But again, see, the scholarships also which were mentioned, I think you said you from 10th onwards.
From 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, undergraduate and diploma, and then
but like initial years, the starting.
Yeah, when you were studying, these schemes were not there. That's what we said. It is a start now.
2019 it started.
29 up to 2019 it started.
Which is very new. But my point is only this. My point is now the people who are already there in the associations like Darpan or Rainbow Tribe, it's up to you guys to push this. Because see, suppose if the government is being uncooperative, you know, I mean, I'm not saying anything against government, we need government, but many officers and all वो थोड़ा uncooperative है ना, वो push नहीं करते, then we are there, no, because it is law. There is no choice. Then you catch hold of, like say media, me, अरे boss नहीं हो रहा, it's not happening, नहीं हो रहा है, do something, it is legal. My point is this, now also the community should push. Why you need 100 people? 10 people are enough here.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, yeah,
Yes,
Francis.
yes,
Yeah, but
like
I
last
think
closing statement, we are
when it
almost out of
comes
time.
to, like, the education part especially, I think it is also important to sensitize the schools also in the beginning,
Mm.
because trans individuals will be able to avail that scholarship in ninth if they are in school before that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right?
Majority
That-
of the people don't exhibit. I mean, they do not come out in the open before 10th
It
standard. That is
depends.
what the
Some
government
pe-
logic
yeah,
is.
some kids may feel that they identify as trans, but
But
they
they don't
don't
come
know.
out.
They don't
They
know
don't
because
come.
that they are not given that information. If we don't have sex ed in school, right? That is, I think, something very important at a young
Oh,
age
that
also.
is now that is it goes into where it was, it's been removed out. Let's not get into that. Another discussion.
No, because
I get you.
that is how
I
kids
feel
also
you.
will be able to identify. But even if they do identify, then, as Madhu ma'am also mentioned, the families don't accept.
Francis,
So
I'm sorry.
there is a
I'm
lot
like
that comes
run
into
out
the
of
picture.
time. I will get you all back for sure, and we'll discuss this acceptance and all that. Madhuji, thank you very much. Prakash sir, Suresh Babu, thank you very much. We are out of time, but I promise you we will continue this discussion at a later date. Guys, this is something that we don't see very often. Even for me, it's pretty new, but it's very interesting. And I am somebody who believes in individual choices. Whether somebody agrees with me or doesn't agree with me, that's the way life has been lived, at least for me. And I think everybody should be given that choice. Whether somebody believes that I believe in it also, that too doesn't make too much. But that's the way it is. We got to live as individuals. We got to be what we are. And this is something more than what do you say, a very, very specific thing about trans. It's about life in general. It's about everybody. That's the reason why we are bringing in people of different what do you say, orientations, likes, dislikes, and we will continue to do so, and we will continue to back all these communities, because we are one society. Ultimately, it is one earth, it's one society. You cannot, okay, fine, I'm going to be an island, I'm going to go live on the moon. It's not possible. Thank you, Prakash Bab. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Suresh Bab.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And it's been a pleasure hosting you guys today on 365. It's been my pleasure and a privilege. Thank you, and keep watching Goa 365.